Good morning, everybody. I typically don't do videos on Wednesday, but I felt I needed to share this today. Today's St. Patrick's Day. I'm wearing my Irish football jersey. When I was a lot smaller and a lot younger, I had some friends of mine from Scotland when I was doing an event that they were going to. They brought this over to America from Ireland for me. And I think today's a great day. Why do I think St. Patrick's Day is a great day? Well, it's not because we celebrate and wear green and eat corned beef with cabbage. I love it. Um, who was St. Patrick and why was he important? Well, St. Patrick grew up in England. He was the son of a deacon of a church. I believe his grandfather was a priest in the church, but he wasn't very religious. Around 400 AD, the man who would become Patrick, he had a different name at the time. He was abducted from his hometown, put upon a slave ship, and shipped to Ireland, where he was sold into slavery. And oftentimes, if you look at his memoirs, he looks back at that as God trying to get his attention, a way of almost repenting for turning his back on God. About 12 years later, he began to pray in earnest. Almost every single day he would pray, and then he swears he heard a voice that says, "Go now, for your ship has come in." And so he left, and there he was in a port town, and there was a ship, and it wouldn't admit him entry, and he prayed. And so as soon as he prayed, passage was allowed on that ship. Well, he went and became a man of the church. He began to serve in the church at his home. He went home to his family. But one day he felt God calling him back to the people who enslaved him, the people who used him as property. He felt God's calling. And they were a warlike and tribal people. The Irish, they had many clans. There was a high king, but they were constantly fighting amongst themselves. But Patrick felt he needed to go and preach the gospel. It was a pagan culture. They were druids. They worshipped nature and many gods. But he felt God calling. And so he went to go preach the gospel to his enemies, his enslavers, his captors. It is said that he personally baptized over 120,000 Irishmen and planted over 300 churches. The reason Christianity exists in Ireland is because of St. Patrick. There were no snakes in Ireland at the time. I know people said he chased the snakes away, but oftentimes this is used as a symbol of how he chased sin out of Ireland. We owe a lot to people like him, and this is a lesson I want to get for all of us. Jesus said in his word, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." Days like today are important because we stop and remember people within the faith who love their enemies, and because they love their enemies, the gospel of the kingdom was advanced. So share this with your friends, your neighbors. Tell your kids about this. This is why we wear green. I'm Irish, so I love wearing green. I mean, technically I should wear orange because I'm Protestant, not Catholic. But we need to make sure that we tell people this important good news, that we can love our enemies, and our enemies can become our brothers. Just as the Apostle Paul was received into heaven by people he persecuted, Patrick went in his life to go and preach the good news to his enemies. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? We have people we disagree with. I see it on social media all the time. We have people who we consider enemies. How are we loving our enemies and praying for those who persecute us, that our enemies may become our brothers, whether in this life or the next? Go out and teach what this day is all about. Wear the green, eat the corned beef and cabbage, have fun with it. But remember who St. Patrick was and his life for Christ. I hope this helps. I hope this is a good message for you. And I hope that you're encouraged in Christ to go out and share the good news, even with your enemies. Go love everyone.